Myers behind the bag. Gets through Buckner.
Banishment for life. Pete Rose from baseball.
Montana looking to throw, and he throws into the end zone. Touchdown.
Young Bias died of heart failure because he used cocaine.
That's my question. You believe in miracles? Yes.
He did it. He did it. He did it.
I'm Susan Sarandon, here to guide you through the 1980s, a decade of greed. A robust boom in the stock market turned Wall Street into a bountiful gold mine where a new breed of prospectors became overnight millionaires. On the political front, Ronald Reagan and his genial brand of conservatism dominated the political landscape as no president had done since FDR. The horizons of television were dramatically expanded by the growing popularity of cable networks such as CNN and MTV. The announcement in 1980 that Walter Cronkite was turning his CBS anchor post over to Dan Rather signaled the end of an era in television news. And that same year, ABC launched an innovative program called Nightline, which began as a daily account of the hostage crisis in Iran. The question that preyed on the minds of millions of viewers that year was, who shot JR? But in real life, the shooting that plunged us all into grief took place on a December night in New York when John Lennon was killed. Robert De Niro won an Oscar for his brilliant portrayal of Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull, while Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was cast as an unlikely pilot in Airplane. For more on Kareem and other superstars of the 1980s, we turn now to a special historic edition of ESPN's SportsCenter.
Up next, a totally awesome SportsCenter.
Bird and Magic to the max.
NC State last second shot.
No way. Miracle on Ice?
Way. Down 6.
5 minutes to play, Montana?
No way.
You know, it's not where's the beef, but what is the beef with George Brett?
Shout, shout, let it all out. At Wimbledon, Borgen McEnroe did.
How bad is the Golden Bear?
Hey, we may not know who shot JR. We do know who hit this shot.
How bogus is this?
Yo, dude.
Off the field, dweeb.
Geek.
Nerd. Leonard Duran, I got your Scarface right here.
Like, what was Bill Buckner thinking?
Michael Jordan, NBA, I'm there.
Wayne Gretzky, mint.
Kirk Gibson,
Naturally.
on SportsCenter.
Now.
Geek.
Nerd.
Hey, sports boys and babes. Ecstatic you're with us for this. Like, wow. Along with Karl Ravech, I'm Linda Cohn.
Really cool. All right, ahead on this show, we got more great shots than Judge Smales hitting Caddyshack.
More hits than Madonna, Michael Jackson, and Billy Joel combined.
And we'll throw more numbers at you than Raymond threw at Charlie Babbitt in Rain Man. In Philadelphia, only one number meant anything to Sixers fans, Linda, and that was 1.
Yeah, but first, let's still bounce the ball, okay? You don't have to be the master of the Rubik's Cube to know the grody to the max situation facing the Los Angeles Lakers heading into Game 6 of the NBA Finals against Dr. J and the 76ers. Sure, the Lakers were one victory away from the NBA title, but get real. There was no way LA could win without Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. A sprained ankle in Game 5 temporarily put an end to Kareem's disco dance. So a rookie from Michigan State was going to have to take the lead in this dance. To Philly we go. Magic playing center for Kareem while Kareem was home watching the game on TV, doing it on Julius, and then draws the foul on Chocolate Thunder Darryl Dawkins. 2018 Lakers. But the doctor answers. Julius Erving. The Def Jam. He does that so well. 27 for him to lead the Sixers. Off the Irving miss. Julius can't find it. Watch the Lakers go the other way. Led by the big center, Magic, the no-look double to Jamal Wilkes and Wilkes for 2 of his 37. Billy Cunningham, disgusted. Why? Because the Lakers were magical. 7 assists for Magic, 42 points, 15 rebounds. He's MVP, and the Lakers are the NBA champs for the first time since '72.
On the heels of his Friday semifinal win over Jimmy Connors, John McEnroe crashed Bjorn Borg's crib. Center court at Wimbledon was given about as much respect as Jimmy Carter. McEnroe, a Wimbledon champ? What you talk about, Willis? I got your different strokes, folks, right here. Borg's owned this tournament 4 years running. Trying to make it 5 in a row over the 21-year-old U.S. Open champ. We're in a 4-set tiebreak. Borg up 2-1, trying to nail it down. McEnroe had already saved 2 match points. advantage McEnroe here, and finally, after a long chase, McEnroe would use a forehand-backhand combination, the end of 4 straight great points for the native New Yorker, 15,000 plus actually cheering for McEnroe. And then he ran harder than anybody this tournament to get here. He saved 5 match points in a tiebreak that he won 18-16. 5th set, Borg settles down and gets real serious. He lost only 3 points on serve. Tom Wolfe wrote it. Borg has it, the right stuff for his 5th straight Wimbledon title. He called the 5th set the best he's ever played.
What took place at the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid was truly trippendicular. It was boss on blades. The U.S. hockey team were just some of the Americans whose dreams were realized. But in the Summer Games in Moscow, American dreams were shattered. Jimmy Roberts has our cover story.
It is a crisis of confidence.
It was one long season of American discontent. 52 U.S. hostages were being held in Iran. Gas lines seemed endless. Interest rates were sky high. And so, too, was urban crime.
I always thought it was a kind of anxiety in America about who we were and where we're going and how we're going to get there.
13 seconds left in the penalty. They jump it in. Oh, my gosh, and they score!
The political climate was not very good at the time. The Soviets had just invaded Afghanistan.
A new world and Olympic record for Ravech.
But I think for a 2-week period, people felt good about themselves and felt proud to be an American.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
That was one of the more unbelievable accomplishments in the history of sports.
It did make Americans feel better about themselves. In fact, they felt ecstatic about themselves.
It transcended the sport. It was a national win for the country.
Even before America celebrated its heroes of winter, talk of boycotting the Summer Games emanated from the highest podium in the land.
I have notified the Olympic Committee that with Soviet invading forces in Afghanistan, neither the American people nor I will support sending an Olympic team to Moscow.
That was, after all, the biggest political statement you could make.
The Soviet Union was using the Moscow Games to exploit its alleged contributions to world peace at the very moment when it was invading another Olympic country.
To permit those games to go forward as though nothing important had happened seemed to us to be a travesty.
But for the athletes, the boycott felt more like a tragedy in the form of a knife in the back.
We were all horrified, and so we immediately went to Washington to say, hey, time out.
I remember going to a meeting in Washington where the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I asked, can you tell me that one life will be saved in Afghanistan if we don't go? And he said, no, he could not tell me that.
The Carter boycott was a debacle. Boycotts only hurt athletes. It didn't solve political problems.
In April, the United States Olympic Committee, bowing to enormous pressure from the White House, agreed to stay home.
I went to practice, and my coach told me at practice. And we cried together.
Jimmy Carter lost a lot of respect as a president and as a leader because of that decision. The public didn't understand what it meant to the athletes.
It was devastating for an Olympic athlete to do all this training and then just get shut out like that.
Athletes peak. They have their moment when they are at their best. And they can't preserve that moment for another 4 years.
I was not willing to risk another 4 years to train, go through the blood, sweat, and tears and have it taken away from me. And that's, I left the sport.
On July 19th, the torch was lit at the 22nd Olympiad in Moscow. As expected, athletes from the United States and 62 other countries were no-shows, proving once again that the Games are not just about sports.
The Olympics are about politics. You used to read this Pollyanna sop about taking politics out of the Olympics. You might as well try to take water out of the ocean.
I've thought about it many times since then. I don't know that if the same circumstances came up again that I wouldn't say, let's go to compete in Moscow. It was an awful time for me.
There's a lot of people who may have become household names that we're never going to know about.
When we come back, Leonard Duran. Do that to me one more time. Turns out twice is more than enough.
SportsCentury's Sports Center of the Decade is presented by Seville STS with all the power and technology of the North Star system. It's What's Next. Also brought to you by Budweiser. Now is the perfect time to enjoy a brewery fresh, Beechwood-aged Budweiser. By MCI, 5 cents every day. And by Burger King. When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
This summer, put Cadillac Seville's amazing performance to the test and get a lesson in power and control. Then put our lease to the test. Lease a new 99 Seville for just $549 a month. Call for complete lease details. You'll even get a 3-year SmartCare basic maintenance contract at no extra charge. So drive a Seville today and put Cadillac to the test.
Okay, Louis, take it away.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the crowd. Yeah.
I don't care if I never get back, so let's root for the home team.
If they don't win, it's a shame, 'cause it's at the old ball game.
I like that.
That fella can sing, huh?
We interrupt this program for this important announcement. MCI now offers 5 cents a minute every day. That's just 5 cents every evening and all weekend long. Presenting the Billboard of the Millennium. Let her rip. MCI, 5 cents every day. That's one powerful message. Call 1-800-EVERY-DAY to join.
At Burger King, we're always trying to make have it your way better. Like this idea for a win your way college football game.
2 more tries!
Run back a kickoff and win great prizes. Then we thought, why not just scratch and win? This week, Penn State and Miami face off, and you could win $1 million, a Toyota RAV4, or the best tasting prize of all, a delicious Whopper. Burger King. When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
How cool is George Brett, folks? Killer. Led the league in hits last year with 212. This year, he batted .421 after the All-Star break. He was still batting .400 on September 19th. After a 4-for-27 slump to end the season, he ends the season hitting .390. And someday, folks, the man from Kansas City will end up in Cooperstown.
You didn't need your boombox on high to hear the mutual disgust expressed by Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran leading up to their rematch tonight at the Superdome in New Orleans. Sugar Ray still smarting after losing his WBC welterweight title to the Panamanian who calls himself Hands of Stone. Question is, by night's end, would Leonard have his belt back, and would Duran have a new nickname?
The reason I don't like him is because he disrespects himself and the public, and I feel that being a champion, you should display class, and he doesn't show class in no shape or form.
7th round action. Leonard looking to whip it good. And then Leonard dancing around Duran, having his way, landing a great combination. Leonard even doing the shuffle step against Roberto Duran. To the 8th round, Duran waving off Leonard. Wait a minute, is he saying no mas? I got a D in Spanish, Karl. Does that mean no more?
I took French.
Oh, okay. He is. He wants out. And the ref stops the fight.
Well, you can read the official Preppy handbook and find absolutely nothing in it about hockey. Check out an NHL locker room, and the guys in there are chilling to Pink Floyd. They ain't wearing designer jeans, but yes, they're talking about Brooke Shields. Nothing may come between her and the material in her pants, the same way nothing appears to be standing in the way of Wayne Gretzky, Gordie Howe, and hockey immortality. Al Morganti is in the corner.
Pro football's George Blanda retired at 48. Baseball knuckleballer Hoyt Wilhelm pitched in the majors until he was 49. But nobody in team sports topped 6-time NHL scoring champion Gordie Howe, who has retired for a 2nd time at 52. When he retired from the Red Wings in 1971 after 25 seasons, Howe had played in more games, scored more goals, with more assists than anyone in the history of the NHL. But his proudest accomplishment was with his comeback in 1973 to play with his sons Marty and Mark for the Houston Aeros of the World Hockey Association. He played 4 years and won another MVP award before ending his career with the Hartford Whalers this season. Wayne Gretzky, the talented 19-year-old center of the Edmonton Oilers, has won this year's MVP, the Hart Trophy, and the Lady Byng Trophy for sportsmanship combined with ability. He is the youngest player to ever win 2 major NHL awards in the same year. The New York Islanders won the Stanley Cup when left winger Bob Nystrom scored 7 minutes and 11 seconds into sudden death overtime. Their 5-4 win over the Philadelphia Flyers was their 6th overtime win in 7 playoff games and closed out the series in 6 games. Brian Trottier, who had 2 assists to break the record for most postseason points with 29, won the Conn Smythe Trophy as the playoffs' most valuable player. The Long Island franchise won 15 of 21 playoff games and became the first team from the New York area to win a Stanley Cup in 40 years.
Thanks, Al. Coming up, Sugar Ray Leonard says, hit me with your best shot, and then makes an urgent emergency comeback against Thomas Hearns.
What is it?
I don't know what that is.
Stinks.
It's not me.
It's you.
It's not me.
They use this menu.
No way.
Yeah.
All right, what can I get you guys? I'll have a strawberry shake.
Good choice. Grilled cheese.
Chocolate milkshake.
Great. It'll be up in a minute.
Want a new place to hang? Shop, chat, speak out, or just hang. Alloy.com. Win a shopping spree at Alloy.com.
Discover the amazing hitting secrets of America's finest baseball school in Teaching the Mechanics of the Major League Swing 2. Tommy Mansky's powerful teaching video that features the same revolutionary techniques that have produced baseball world's back-to-back-to-back AAU national championship teams. Parents, players, and coaches have been simply amazed at their students' rapid week-by-week improvement. These award-winning techniques benefit players of all ages and ability levels and make a valuable addition to any coach's library and a great gift. At just $29.95, call now.
Ronald Reagan's presidency got off to a rousing start when the American hostages in Iran were set free on the day he was sworn into office. But it almost came to a tragic end 2 months later when he was seriously wounded by a would-be assassin named John Hinckley. That summer, Sandra Day O'Connor became the first woman appointed to the Supreme Court. And in London, Prince Charles and Diana Spencer exchanged vows in a storybook marriage that later turned sour. Perhaps the most romantic moment on television, though, came in 1981 in November when the wedding of Luke and Laura on General Hospital drew the largest audience ever for a daytime soap opera. In prime time, Dynasty and Hill Street Blues began their long runs. The 1924 Olympic Games provided the setting for the year's Oscar-winning movie, Chariots of Fire, and Terry Cashman hit the charts with his lively take on the national pastime.
Shut off the MTV because you won't find Fernando Valenzuela there. He's busy pitching. Fernando of the Dodgers, Major League debut against Houston. He decked him. Got a complete game there, and he was serious in the strike-shortened season. Fernando Mania ran wild. 13-7. He already won Rookie of the Year. For that, he got a kiss. For winning today, the Cy Young, he gets a hug. So, Mom and Dad, we know we'd rather the kids not grow up and be a waitress. Alice's life, it's commendable, but it lacks a certain coolness. Being a cop is honorable, but Barney Miller looks like he's ready to drop dead every day. And Tony Danza makes driving a taxi look pretty hip. But his real dream is to be a boxer. Why not? Last time Ray Leonard hit the ring, the fight grossed about $25 million. His title bout now with Thomas Hearns expected to gross a record $37 million. Someone's going to get rich, and that means boxing gloves for everybody's birthday. 13th round, Sugar Ray. Behind on all official cards to this point. Twice he pushed Hearns down. 3 times Hearns actually went down in the 13th round. He would ultimately get back up. Listening to Davy Pearl's count, this fight would continue. Turned out in the end, folks, this was the richest single sporting event in history. And then at $1:45 of the 14th round, Hearns just kind of hanging around, and Leonard pounding away. Davy Pearl steps in, stops the fight. Leonard holding on to his title and adding the WBA welterweight crown.
The NBA season is over. Dr. J wins league MVP. Major. Magic's 25-year, $25 million fresh deal with the Lakers was about as shocking as Suzanne Summers checking out of Three's Company. And the only thing more totally awesome than watching Larry Bird in the NBA Finals was watching William Hurt and Kathleen Turner in that scene from Body Heat. Here's David Aldridge on the NBA Beat.
Boston's Larry Bird won the first basketball championship of his life as the Boston Celtics captured their 14th NBA title with a 102-91 win over the Houston Rockets at the Summit. Boston's Cedric Cornbread Maxwell was the 6-game series MVP, but it was Bird who was the difference. With 4 minutes to go and the Rockets 3 points down, Bird hit a 15-foot jumper, took a charge for a turnover, and fired another 15-footer for a 6-point swing in just 32 seconds. Then, when Houston closed the gap again to 3 points, Bird scored possibly the biggest basket of the game, a 3-pointer from the corner that sealed the Rockets' fate. He finished with 27 points. In the year that Irvin Magic Johnson would have graduated from Michigan State if he had stayed there all 4 years, the 6'9" point guard has signed a contract extension that will pay him $1 million a year for 25 years, through the year 2009. The extension goes into effect once his current contract ends 3 years from now. Lakers owner Jerry Buss said, "I plan to make him my protege and teach him the business aspects of sports." Julius Erving became the first non-center to win the NBA's Most Valuable Player award since Hall of Famer Oscar Robertson did it 17 years ago. Erving averaged 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists a game. Larry Bird, whose Celtics defeated Irving's 76ers in a 7-game Eastern Conference final, came in second, while 6-time MVP Kareem Abdul-Jabbar finished third. This is David Aldridge on the NBA Beat for SportsCenter.
Thanks, David. We head to the Orange Bowl next, where the Dolphins play shake it up against San Diego and look to take it on the run, baby. Might as well jump on our speedwagon next. Come on.
Not that easy. Not that easy.
Take that.
Encouragement.
Take
right
that.
Don't let it beat you, KG.
Yeah. Come on, Kevin. Watch it. Brandy's in the house. What?
So with the shirt.
This summer, put Katerra's 200 horses to the test and unleash an exhilarating drive. Then lease a new 99 Katerra for just $3.99 a month for 36 months and $3.99 due at lease signing. Call for complete lease details. You'll even get a 3-year SmartCare basic maintenance contract at no extra charge. So drive a Katerra today and put Cadillac to the test.
Great match play stuff between Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson. U.S. Open 17th hole out of a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos. How about Tom Watson? Bang! He knocks it into the hole for a birdie. That was really cool. Unless, of course, you were Jack Nicklaus and you had to watch a thing on television. Watson would later birdie 18. He'd beat the Golden Bear by 2 and win his 6th major championship.
Before the Chargers took the field against the Dolphins in the AFC second-round playoff, there had been 4 overtime games played in NFL postseason history, but none more elite than the first. The Colts' 58 NFL championship win over the Giants. We've all seen those black and white clips. Like, duh, that was the greatest game ever played. No divisional game between San Diego and Miami can duplicate that greatness. Get out. To the Orange Bowl, Don Strock in relief of David Woodley for the Dolphins, who trailed 24-zip first half. Last play. Wait a minute, the old hook and ladder? Wow, Duriel Harris, the lateral to Tony Nathan, who goes in. The Dolphins right back in this on that schoolyard play, 24-17. Last minute of regulation, it was San Diego that needed to come back. Dan Fouts capping off an 82-yard drive. James Brooks, he's open, Dan. He finds him. We're tied. We are tied. Kellen Winslow in our spot shadow. He's on special teams. Uwe von Schamann from 43 yards out. Can they win it? No way. Winslow coming up huge. We go to overtime tied. Miami coach Don Shula can't believe it. Winslow caught 13 passes in the game, suffering from dehydration. Now, Each team missed a field goal attempt in the extra period. Rolf Bernushka from 29 yards out? No question. The Chargers move on to face Cincinnati in the AFC title game.
The NFC title game, Niners-Cowboys, as Norm, who is everyone's real guy, from Cheers said, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear. Really gross. Really gross. So wet, though, was the field, so gross, that during the week they had covered it with green cat litter. Joe Montana and his Niners destroyed Dallas back in October 45-14. That game was played without the cat litter. But you know that Norm, 12 yards. We're calling timeout in Dallas, playing Diana Ross. They're upside down. Comes down to 3rd and 3. Ends up being bigger than Simon and Garfunkel in Central Park, folks. Sounds of silence ringing through Dallas. Niners win 28-27. They go to their first Super Bowl. Charlie Waters said the end was like driving a car off the end of a cliff and waiting for it to land. So we got Norm earlier. Now we got Cliff. We also have Chris Berman at Candlestick.
The San Francisco 49ers prove once again why they have the best record in the NFL. With 5 minutes to go, down by 6, 89 yards separated them from victory. But once again, the 49ers played like veterans, and they beat the Dallas Cowboys 28-27.
Thanks, Boomer. Still ahead, a freshman plays abracadabra at the Superdome. We got the beat on Georgetown, North Carolina, next.
At 25, I wanted to make vice president. At 35, I wanted to make my first million. At 45, I wanted to make enough to buy the company. Now all I want is to make it around this track 0.2 of a second faster.
At Lincoln Financial Group, we provide clear, understandable, customized solutions to help you manage, protect, and enjoy the work of a lifetime. Lincoln Financial Group. Clear solutions in a complex world.
Heinous ending to the Stanford-Cal game. The Golden Bears, they trailed 20-19, 4 seconds to go, when the Door Convention showed up dressed in band uniforms. Cal receiving the kick.
The Bears have to get out of bounds. Rogers along the sideline, another one. They're still in deep trouble at midfield. They tried to do a couple of... The ball is still loose as they get it to Rogers. They give it back now to the 30. They're down to the 20. Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. He's going into the end zone. Will it count? The Bears have scored.
They love to talk about sky blue in Dean country. How about the sky being the limit? Just how bad is this kid named Mike Jordan? Call all your friends. Call Europe, Africa, call Asia. Here's your heat of the moment. Terrific game tonight, played out under the dome. Biggest lead of the game was 6. Eric Sleepy Floyd, closing minute, leaner, got it. Georgetown's up 62-61. Put down your potato skins, it gets real good now. Carolina needs a bucket. James Worthy, no. Mike Jordan, 15 to go, it's dropped. Carolina by 1. Freddie Brown, slow down, you got all sorts of time. All sorts of time. All week, Georgetown was wearing white jerseys in practice. He found one. Worthy. John Thompson comes out, consoles his sophomore, says, you know, you won more games for me than you lost. You can't stress it. Worthy, 28 points in the victory, 63-62. Well, the lightweight title between Ray Boom Boom Mancini and Dooku Kim turned tragic when the young Korean boxer died earlier this year. The response by some has been to put an end to the sport. Time now for Al Bernstein to uncover our cover story.
They fought at a level where somebody was gonna die.
He came into the ring with a headband, red headband, said, kill or be killed in Korean.
A damaging blow. Mancini springing to the advantage, but Kim punching back. What a war here in the 11th.
It's the only fight I've ever thought about quitting in the middle of the fight. That moment was one of the greatest feelings of my life.
Minutes later, an unconscious Dooku Kim was rushed to the hospital, where he sank into a coma with a blood clot in his brain. Taken off life support 5 days later, he was one of 7 fighters to die in 1982.
I looked at my hands like I couldn't believe that these could do something like that.
He had come as a symbol of South Korea. And as a symbol of South Korea had given his all. There was honor in his fighting and martyrdom in his death.
8 days after the fight, his body was returned to South Korea, where he was nationally mourned and buried in his fishing village overlooking the mist-shrouded East Sea. All that remained now was a legacy of heart.
Dooku Kim was too brave for his own good. Absorbed too much punishment over too many rounds.
When Dooku Kim died in Las Vegas, there were cries to ban boxing. That fight should have been stopped sooner. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
How is a man supposed to police a barbaric event? The referee is supposed to represent civilization. But civilization has put on the fight.
History echoes with cries to ban boxing, but the decibel level soared with the advent of television. Millions watched welterweight champ Benny Kid Barrett undergo a savage beating by Emil Griffith in 1962.
Barrett against the ropes, almost helpless.
The outcry to Barrett's death was massive, foreshadowing the public response to Kim's death 2 decades later.
The fact that there were demands to ban boxing is quite understandable. You had millions of people who were witness to a man dying as a result of being hit by another person.
Because they saw it on television, they thought it should be banned. On the other hand, a lot of people thought auto racing should be banned because you see a guy barbecued in his car.
It's life. You do in life what you gotta do. In my profession, we do what you gotta do.
I would pull the plug on boxing. Society ought not to allow people to beat each other's brains in. Boxing is people paying money to allow people to destroy themselves.
They were saying, well, it's the one sport that the idea is to go in and mortally hurt your opponent. No, the idea is to go in there to win.
Whenever a fighter dies, the public backlash is outrage. It's a barbaric sport. And on many levels, boxing is a very difficult sport to defend.
There will always be cries of banning boxing. It will never, never occur. Boxing is here forever.
The tragic death of Dooku Kim occurred the same year that John Belushi died in a Hollywood hotel from a drug overdose. And Princess Grace was killed in an automobile accident near her home in Monaco. Television fans gave their biggest cheers to a new comedy series set in a Boston bar. Family Ties featured a bright young actor named Michael J. Fox as Alex P. Keaton. And Insomniacs reveled in the flip and antic humor of David Letterman, whose Late Show made its debut in 1982. 2 of the year's most popular movies were Tootsie, played by a cross-dressing Dustin Hoffman, and E.T., a cute little critter who found himself stranded a long way from home. Finally, the new national newspaper, USA Today, was called the perfect paper for those who didn't have enough attention span for television.
When we come back, it was Dean's dream in '82. In '83, the title stays in North Carolina. Only this year, it's Jimmy taking home the trophy.
It's been a tradition since 1876. Think about that. That's more than 120 years ago that this company started making Budweiser under Adolphus Busch. The family has always put in the forefront, protect the excellence of the product Budweiser. And I think he would be very happy that the generations of his family have practiced what he taught us.
7,000 times a day, 685 times an hour. Once every 6 seconds, a GM owner puts their stamp of approval on the quality of our cars and trucks by coming back to buy another GM. It's the highest loyalty of any company in the industry.
and to us, the highest compliment.
Nine programs, $27. 5 hot dogs, 6 pennants, $45. One big puffy hand, $6. Their first big league ball game, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard, the card at the heart of Major League Baseball.
Every kid knows, if you want to make the big leagues, you better eat your Wheaties. And every dad should know, whole grain Wheaties may help prevent cancer. Numerous studies confirm a low-fat diet rich in whole grain foods like Wheaties may reduce the risk of certain cancers. So when he does make the big leagues, you'll be in the front row. 100% whole grain Wheaties, a champion in the fight against cancer.
Babe Ruth, Johnny Unitas, Muhammad Ali, and Michael Jordan are among the greats in ESPN SportsCentury, the definitive book about sports in the 20th century. ESPN SportsCentury in bookstores September 22nd.
Mr. Intensity, George Brett. His Royals dealing with the Yanks. Kansas City down a run in the 9th, and George unloads on Rich Gossage. Royals go up 5-4. Billy Martin of the Yankees smell a rat. Actually, they smell pine tar in a bat. They say it exceeds the amount specified by the rule book. Tim McClellan is your home plate umpire. He agrees. George Brett, sitting and stewing, says if they call me out, I am going to kill someone. And he goes nuclear. But Brett was called out. The game over. Yankees win. Brett and the Royals filed an official protest with baseball.
To the pit in Albuquerque, All-American Clyde Drexler on the bench, 4 fouls first half. So, Hakeem Olajuwon would have to work harder than Jane Fonda in her workout video. First on D was the dream. And then, triple team, big deal. Olajuwon, 20 points, 18 boards, 7 blocks. NC State trailed by as much as 7 second half. Derek Wittenberg was a Sidney Sheldon bestseller. The master of the game. We're all tied up at 52. Seconds remaining, NC State with a chance to win. Wittenberg looking for the clock. He couldn't find it. He launches this. He thought it was going to go in, but Lorenzo Charles did one better. And that's okay. The Wolfpack, Jimmy Valdano's underdog team, are champions.
All right, the football futures game. Look into your crystal ball, look down the road, and you see that underclassmen leaving early in football, in basketball, that can be a big problem. In football, Heisman winner Herschel Walker Jr. at the University of Georgia confirmed what we told you yesterday. He's checking out, signing a 3-year, $3.9 million deal to play in the USFL with the New Jersey Generals. Walker said he didn't want to wait the extra year that it would have taken for him to be eligible for the NFL. All right, to the NBA Finals, and this is the big chill. Moses Malone dominating Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He out-rebounded him 27-5 on the offensive boards, 72-30 overall. Look at Mo eat glass. 33-year-old Dr. J, seen here, says this isn't the end of a long, cumbersome journey. This is the beginning.
In 1983, astronaut Sally Ride became the first American woman to soar through space, and Vanessa Williams the first African-American to be crowned Miss America. In March, 125 million viewers, one of the largest audiences in television history, tuned in to watch the last episode of MASH. The supreme superstar in pop music was Michael Jackson, whose album Thriller included 7 top 10 singles. The hip new way of listening to music was on CD players, and one of the year's biggest fads for kids of all ages was something called Cabbage Patch Dolls. Hollywood's Oscar went to terms of endearment for its offbeat blend of humor and heartache, but everyone's favorite movie line was delivered by Clint Eastwood. In a film called Sudden Impact, Dirty Harry challenged a would-be shooter to, go ahead, make my day.
My day.
To L.A. we go next. That's where Mary Lou Retton was just a girl wanting to have fun and pull a Bo Derek by scoring a perfect 10.
Superior Bank helps homeowners who help themselves.
With Superior, we saved about $800 a month. We saved over $1,000 a month.
Now we have 8 fewer payments to make each month, and it feels great.
It is much easier to make one payment than to make 5.
I was able to cut my payments by 1/3.
We called other lenders.
But we chose Superior.
Even if you're a homeowner who's been turned down before, call Superior Direct at 1-888-678-7777.
Hey guys, if you have thinning hair, call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB now, and we'll send you our new 40-page hair loss update. It covers the most up-to-date information on hair growing drugs and methods, as well as Hair Club's most natural-looking, non-surgical hair development to date.
You don't feel any difference in this hair.
Now that I am a Hair Club client, I would never go back.
Call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB now and get your free booklet. That's 1-800-HAIR-CLUB.
The Jets go upstate to take on the Bills in an ESPN Sunday Night Football brawl.
Heard about the foot there, Charbet. Tough break, pal.
It's Crevette. Sorbet? Are we having sorbet?
It's Crevette.
There's nothing better to cleanse the palate than sorbet.
My roommate from college was nuts for sorbet, Charbet. He was a Sharpay.
It's pronounced Crevette. Get it?
Nah, I'm sure it's pronounced Sharpay. It's Chinese.
It's the Jets against the Bills on ESPN Sunday Night Football. It all begins with NFL primetime at 7:30.
Here's the 1984 NBA draft order. You can't argue with the Dream at number 1. But Sam Bowie at number 2, I mean, with all those injury problems at Kentucky, I would have went with Michael Jordan at number 2. That guy can really put some air under him. You know that Billy Idol song, Eyes Without a Face? That tune could have been written about Larry Bird. In case you've had your nose buried in a certain magazine with Miss America in it, the Celtics' shiniest shamrock has a reputation. Atlanta's Dominique Wilkins says, just look in Bird's eyes and you'll see a killer. Larry would have to be lethal if the Celtics were going to put away Magic, Kareem, and the Lakers in Game 7 of the NBA Finals in Boston. 90 degrees inside Boston Garden. That's as hot as Michael Jackson's hair in that Pepsi spot. Bird, the banker, Celtics by 3 in the 3rd. To the 4th we go. Cedric Maxwell working James Worthy. Maxwell, 2 of his 24. Lakers, though, they can come back in a hurry, though. We've seen it so many times. Kareem double-teamed. A cutting James Worthy inside. Worthy romancing the stone, cuts it to 7. The comeback continues. Kareem, you can't stop the sky hook. 29 points. Magic and the Lakers trying to cut the deficit to 1. Boston had other ideas. Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish going the other way. Dennis Johnson with a ball, and he's fouled. DJ making 2 clutch free throws. 12 for 12 from the line tonight. Larry Bird is your MVP in a Celtics victory.
The feeling was that Miami had as much chance of slowing down Nebraska's offensive machine as Bill Murray and company did of catching ghosts. When Howard Schnellenberger shut up 5 years ago with pipes and promises of a national title, few stopped partying enough to take him seriously. Serious game here, 4th and 8. Turner Buell, Jeff Smith, 9 carries, 99 yards, 31-30 Miami. An extra point ties it. It would give Nebraska a national championship. Tom Osborne says, forget it, we go for 2. Gill rolls right. Ken Calhoun knocks it down, and Miami hands Nebraska its first loss of the year. They're going to wait to find out if, in fact, they're number 1.
You got to give Osborne some credit for going for 2. Credit is not what Baltimore wants to give the Colts organization, that's for sure, because there was a chill in the air in more ways than one last night as Colts owner Robert Irsay pulled up the moving vans to transport the Colts and all their mementos for the past 31 years to the city of Indianapolis.
If the Colts had to sneak out of town at night, it degrades a great tradition of the city in football.
It wasn't easy to find something in Los Angeles that would outshine Ray-Bans, wine spritzers, and Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop. But the Summer Olympics in the City of Angels did just that. Mark Schwartz, who I'm sure has seen Beverly Hills Cop, is standing by live at the Coliseum. Mark?
Thanks, Linda. With the Eastern Bloc boycott, these Olympic Games were truly a blowout for the United States. Even the men's gymnastics team captured gold for the first time in 80 years. Then there's 16-year-old Mary Lou Retton, who became the first American woman to win an all-around Olympic gold when she scored a perfect 10 on her final vault. The 4-foot, 9-inch pixie from Fairmont, West Virginia, walked into America's embrace by beating Ekaterina Szabo of Romania by a razor-thin 0.05 points.
And from the start,
Carl Lewis joins the legendary Jesse Owens as the only 2 American track and field competitors to win 4 gold medals in a single Olympic Games. By running the anchor leg on the men's world record-setting 4x100-meter relay team, Lewis captured gold medals in the 100 and 200-meter sprints and the long jump in addition to the relay. the elegant Edwin Moses breezed to an expected win in the 400-meter hurdles. Expected because the fabulous Moses hasn't lost in 7 years and 105 races. This medal will be a companion to the one he captured at the Games 8 years ago. But another American who was expected to win did not. In the women's 3,000-meter final, American Mary Decker and 17-year-old Zola Budd have collided. America's greatest woman distance runner was writhing in pain on the infield grass with a torn muscle. Her Olympic dreams shattered. Decker blamed the incident on Budd's inexperience. The barefoot South African who immigrated to Britain in March to run in the Olympics replied, quote, "I don't know what happened, but I think she ran into the back of me," end quote. Repeated looks at the videotape of the incident were inconclusive. Mark, thank you. Phil Collins sings Against All Odds. Doug Flutie must have heard that as he launched this Hail Mary against the defending national champions, BC Miami, when we return.
If you don't get AC Delco brand name parts, you'd better get a good brand name shoe. AC Delco. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
No matter what kind of car or truck that comes into my shop, there's one brand of automotive parts I can depend on. AC Delco. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
In sports,
What's up, Glow Boy? You need to make a call?
Oh, see, what's up?
Nah, you don't need any change. Just dial 1-800-COLLECT. Yeah, 1-800-COLLECT. You can save a buck or two. Go ahead, try it. Don't mention it. Just tell all your buddies. Tourists. 1-800-COLLECT. Save a buck or two.
Welcome back to SportsCenter.
The best sports battle in Boston this year, Larry Bird against Doug Flutie. When it comes to miracles, both are carrying suitcases, and today in Miami, Flutie unpacked his latest. They're down 4, 6 seconds to go. They need 48 yards. Flutie's pass travels a lot further than that.
From one hit. Looks. Uncorks a deep one for the end zone. Phelan is down there.
Oh, he got it!
Did he get it?
He got it!
Touchdown! 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 Touchdown, Boston College!
And he threw it in the air about 65 yards. Well, from the All Good Things Must End department, Hawkeye walked away from MASH last year. Last month, Howard Cosell walked away from Monday Night Football. But Sunday, we needed him. Walter Payton, the gregarious running back of the Chicago Bears, standing on the doorstep of NFL immortality. 67 yards. Jim Brown's all-time rushing record would fall like the house of Usher. That and more. 6 yards behind Matt Suhey and Mark Forts. He's ahead of Jim Brown. He is your NFL's career-leading rusher. 154 on the day, 12,400 and counting.
I'm convinced John McEnroe, meantime, is the Bruce Springsteen of tennis. Both sell out, both perform until they drop, both leave you begging for more. Today, Jimmy Connors had to be reminded that you can't start a fire without a spark, even if you're just dancing on center court at Wimbledon. Dan Patrick has our cover story on a rivalry that has fueled the sport.
With McEnroe and Connors, you pretty much knew that you weren't going to be disappointed from the time the first ball was struck.
Connors was the feistiest guy who ever went out there. He would bleed for you on the court. And John McEnroe was a tortured, mad genius.
What did I say, umpire? Tell me. Please tell me. Please tell me.
McEnroe had this astonishing lack of reverence for tennis.
We're not going to have a point taken away because this guy's an incompetent fool.
McEnroe was the ultimate pain in the butt, and Jimmy was the New York darling.
Don't get smart with me, punch breath.
They were actually two tennis players that you could see waiting for each other outside and getting into a fight. Here's these two guys jawing each other on a changeover at Wimbledon.
Keep your mouth shut out here.
The war of words commenced in the semifinals at Wimbledon in 1977. Connors won in 4 sets. Over the next 5 years, the two went head-to-head 16 times, Connors winning 8 of the skirmishes. In 1982, they were back at Wimbledon, this time in the finals.
Neither one of them was at the best that day. Connors, though, was just the ultimate in guts and courage and would not let himself get beaten.
Down 2-1, Connors fought back to win his first Wimbledon title in 8 years. It was a match more of substance than style.
It was incredible how hard every single point, that no matter how hard I try, I just can't try as hard as this guy.
When Jimmy came back, nobody thought he could ever be #1 again, but something happened to McEnroe, and there was Jimmy winning Wimbledon, and he was #1.
Over the next 2 years, McEnroe began to claim clear superiority, beating Connors in 9 of 10 matches. Although the battles were weighted in the younger man's favor, they were no less volatile.
Answer my question!
Both McEnroe and Connors were so emotional that if you like tennis at all, and you were there in person or watching on television, you had to care. They made you care about the event.
They raised the whole profile of our sport in very different ways. Jimmy made you feel like you were helping him win a match, whereas John would basically make everyone shut up and let me win this match. Just everyone shut up here. You don't even know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create art here.
1984 was McEnroe's masterpiece. Winning 82 of 85 matches, he beat Connors in all 6 confrontations, including the finals at Wimbledon. 2 months later at the U.S. Open, they were joined in their last Grand Slam battle. McEnroe beat Connors in the semis, then closed out Yvonne Lendl in the finals.
McEnroe was just absolutely at the height of his powers. I'm not so sure that there was ever any player, Laver, Tilden, or anybody else, who was as good as McEnroe that particular year.
Through 1984, McEnroe held a 17-11 edge in a rivalry marked as much for its language as its tennis. Clearly, they had altered, some say butchered, the etiquette of the starched white world of tennis.
There are so many other things out there for people to do. Now, why would they want to come to a tennis match? You know, to see guys running around in a little pair of white shorts swinging a tennis? No, that's not why they came. They came because they had guys out there that were willing to break their back and give them everything they had in appreciation for what they were doing for them. And I was one of them, and I loved it.
When you have two great tenors like Pavarotti and Domingo, or two great anything, and people say he's better, no, he's better, no, he's better. Well, it's got to enlarge that sport.
But has the sport been enlarged by hot air, or a rivalry based on sincere dislike?
Beauty of McEnroe and Connors is they could come out here and play on my court. Within a couple of games, they'd be yelling at each other. I mean, that's the fun about these two guys.
I don't think Connors and McEnroe like one another one bit. It's not an act. It's not some showmanship to sell tickets to tennis.
I almost would advocate having 2 separate locker rooms for the people that want to be apart from each other.
Tennis was the most important thing, and we just happened to bring out the best in each other, tennis-wise. Anything else you got, should have been happy about that.
In 1984, the Democrats picked Geraldine Ferraro as their vice presidential candidate, the first woman to be so honored. But nothing could stop the Reagan bandwagon. Scientists isolated the virus that causes AIDS, the lethal disease that had become a modern plague. Apple introduced a new personal computer, the Macintosh. And a fast food commercial came up with the question of the year: where's the beef? The most endearing family on television was the Huxtables as the Cosby Show soared to the top of primetime ratings. As the mysterious slugger Roy Hobbs, Robert Redford literally hit the cover off the ball in the year's big baseball movie, The Natural. And Bubba Smith, the former all-pro stacker of quarterbacks, was one of the goofballs who enrolled in Hollywood's Police Academy.
SportsCentury's Sports Center of the Decade is presented by the company you count on wherever life takes you. General Motors, people in motion. Also brought to you by Burger King. When you have it your way, it just tastes better. By Nike. And by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
At Burger King, we're always trying to make have it your way better. Like this idea for a win your way college football game.
2 more tries!
Run back a kickoff and win great prizes. Then we thought, why not just scratch and win? This week, Penn State and Miami face off, and you could win $1 million, a Toyota RAV4, or the best tasting prize of all, a delicious Whopper. Burger King. When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
I'm going right by you. Hey, y'all, give me some help.
You getting tired? You need some oxygen?
All right, come on. Now what? Give me on. Come on. Let's go on. Slow down, baby. Let me turn down, too. Check.
Counting down to number 1, the Georgia Peach, a gentle moniker for one of baseball's nastiest players, whose legend the game will never forget. SportsCentury athlete number 20, Cohn, tonight at 10:30 on ESPN, presented by General Motors.
Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Thomas Hearns for the undisputed World Middleweight Championship. Boy, round 2 was like a scene out of Rambo. Hagler bloody. He has Hearns hurt against the ropes. Hearns tries to counterpunch. Hagler continues his assault.
Will it matter?
Finally, the bell would ring.
Hagler bloody, but very much
On to round 3, arguably the greatest round in boxing history. Hagler, a nasty, nasty boy. Hearns tries to escape, but Hagler chases him down.
Hearns is down! Hearns is down in the 3rd round and on his back, and he's not going to beat the count. Tommy Hearns tries to get up, and they've got to stop this fight. Does he get up? He just doesn't know. He can't continue.
From middleweight to heavyweight, the NCAA title game, Georgetown, Villanova, Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, Blair, Natalie. Just the facts of life, people. You hip to this now? This is the defending national champ against a team that squeaked into the big dance with a 19-10 record. But when it comes to the Hoyas, the Cats are pretty hip to them, losing once in overtime, the other time by only 7 on the road. Would this one be close? They traded baskets late in the first half. Ewing, a 3-time All-America, jump. He finished with 14 in his 3rd title game. Back the other way, Nova. In transition, Gary McLean. He was 3 of 3 from the field, 2 for 2 at the line. Nova by 1 at the half. Second half, they slow it down. They go inside. Ed Pinckney throws it up and in. Cats by 4. He had 16. 5 minutes to go in the game. David Wingate. Wax on, wax off. He goes glass, hits for 16. Georgetown up 1, 54-53. Nova on fire. Oh, Harold Jensen. They missed 6 shots from the field all night. They're up 55-54. And from the overachieving department, this is a lot bigger than Billy Joel marrying Christy Brinkley. They throw it in, they burn out the clock, and Nova becomes the lowest seed at 8 to win a national championship. McLean leading the way with 17 points.
You'd have to be in a cocoon not to know that Martina and Chrissy are the best rivalry of this decade. Coming into today's Women's French Open final, Martina held a 33-31 head-to-head edge over the Golden Girl, Chris Evert-Lloyd. In fact, Chrissy has lost 15 of the last 16 times she's faced Navratilova. To Roland Garros we go. Chrissy Evert-Lloyd awaiting serve on championship point. For Navratilova, her serve has been awful today, having already lost 8 of 15 service games. But this rally was certainly worth watching. The forehand there by Chrissy. And here comes that two-handed backhand winner down the line. The queen of clay does it again, making hubby John Lloyd very proud of a record 6 French Open championship.
The biggest musical and television event in 1985 was the Live Aid benefit concert for the victims of famine in Africa. Scores of pop music stars donated their talents to the 16-hour multinational concert, which included the rousing anthem, "We Are the World." Daytime television had a glittering new star as Oprah began her reign as queen of the talk shows. Movie fans the world over mourned the death of Rock Hudson, the first celebrity to succumb to AIDS. Hollywood sent Michael J. Fox traveling back to the future, and millions of teenagers stood in line to see The Breakfast Club, the latest hit movie by their favorite director, John Hughes. Divers found the wreckage of the Titanic 73 years after it sank in the North Atlantic. And Madonna made her big splash on MTV with her blockbuster album, Like a Virgin. It featured her signature song, Material Girl.
Still to come on SportsCenter, Jack Nicklaus had a view to a kill at the Masters and took our breath away at the same time.
Nine programs, $27. 5 hot dogs, 6 pennants, $45. One big puffy hand, $6. Their first big league ball game, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard, the card at the heart of Major League Baseball.
Terrific wedding, you son of a gun.
Thanks. It's just so great to see you. I couldn't wait to get here.
Whoa! I'm so choked up. I don't know what to say.
May your mother be blessed forever.
You're making a lot of people very happy.
Very happy. Wow. You're the joy sharer. You're the sharer of joy. Well, thank you. Would you like a glass with that?
Bartender?
I'll be right back.
Right now, see more trucks than an all-night diner. During the GMC Summer Convoy, pickups, SUVs, and family vans. 2 million tons of professional-grade trucks, designed better than they need to be. Like the GMC Sierra, with a larger cab and more V8 horsepower than the Ford F-150 or Dodge Ram extended cab pickups. Come in and make your own comparisons today. This is one convoy you don't want passing you by.
We interrupt this program for this important announcement. MCI now offers 5 cents a minute every day. That's just 5 cents every evening and all weekend long. Presenting the billboard of the millennium. Let her rip. MCI, 5 cents every day. That's one powerful message. Call 1-800 every day to join.
Who says homie don't play that game? 5'7" Spud Webb taking on the big boys at the slam dunk competition tonight. He left a winner hanging in front of his home folks. He went to high school and junior college in Texas. Neek was solid, but Webb was the man. Bounced one off the floor, caught it, and slammed it. He said he first dunked when he was 17. 2 perfect scores of 50 helped him win. He jumped so high he sat on the rim. Last year, New Coke was new. Greg LeMond was second at the Tour de France. This year, New Coke's lost its fizz, but not LeMond. Today, he becomes the first American to ever win the race. Over 2,500 miles of work. It took over 110 hours to complete.
27-0 at the age of 20. This former Brooklyn street fighter by the name of Mike Tyson can throw a wicked punch. But could he throw enough of them to dethrone 33-year-old Trevor Ravech of his WBC crown and become boxing's youngest heavyweight champ ever? Hey, if Aerosmith can team up with Run DMC and produce a hit song out of Walk This Way, anything is possible. To the Vegas Hilton, Tyson just misses with a right, but he would land with a left. And Ravech goes down. Ravech flopping around, trying to get up. I said he was trying. Finally gets up, but Mills Lanes puts an end to this. Mike Tyson, who dedicated this fight to his first trainer and father figure, Cus D'Amato, is your new heavyweight champion. After a happy Mike said, I'm the youngest heavyweight champ, and I'm going to be the oldest, too.
Speaking of old champs, we now know that bears can actually read. Last week, Jack Nicklaus sitting in Atlanta, thumbing through a newspaper article which said 46-year-olds don't win majors. Last time Jack hoisted a big trophy was 1980, the same year Zimbabwe declares its independence. Yesterday, Nick Price, who's from there, shredded Augusta like a Ginsu knife going through a tomato. Could Nicklaus possibly play Frogger? He had to go over some of the game's greats. He eagled 15, made an ace almost at 16, would tap in for birdie, now on 17, and Jack for birdie and silkier than the scarves the ladies are wearing nowadays. 9 under for the tournament. He'd par 18, finish at 7 under, 65. Who's the boss, Jack? 18th hole. This is Tom Kite, a 12-footer for birdie. That would give him a share of the lead with Nicklaus, and Jack in the clubhouse. Kite misses to the 18th hole. Greg Norman, final group, 4-iron. On 10, he blew a 4-iron way right. On 18, he does the same thing. The shark looking like Alf. Look out. Norman bogeys, finishes 1 stroke behind your 46-year-old winner. Jack Nicklaus winning his 6th green jacket. Of his victory, of his final round, Nicholas said that was as fine a round of golf as I've ever played.
The LCS in the National and American Leagues could be spelled out in one word: dramatic. It took the Mets 16 innings to beat Houston in Game 6 to clinch the pennant. Then the Red Sox, who were just one strike away from elimination back in Game 5 against the Angels, survived that series and battled to win it in 7. Who would have thought we could have an encore in the World Series? To Shea for Game 6. Rick Aguilera and the Mets entering the danger zone. Tied at 3, 10th inning. Aggie, Dave Henderson. Hendu has got a crush on you. His home run puts Boston ahead by 1. They would add another and have a commanding 5-3 advantage heading into the bottom of the 10th. Could the Mets come back? 2 outs. Ray Knight. The 3rd straight 2-out hit for New York. Here comes the kid. Gary Carter scores, and the Mets cut Boston's lead to 1. There's Bob Stanley facing Mookie Wilson with runners at 1st and 3rd. Oh, Stanley's the wild thing. Kevin Mitchell chugs home with a game-tying run. What is going on here at Shea? The crowd's going crazy, and John McNamara appears done. Mookie Wilson now facing Stanley. Remember, 2 out. Wilson up. Looks like the game is over. Bill Buckner, what is going on? Has the curse of the Bambino struck again? A huge error. Knight comes in to score. He is mobbed at home plate, and there will be a Game 7 after all in the World Series.
Still ahead, the tragedy that is the Len Bias story. A SportsCenter of the decades, the 80s, continues.
I told him, Dave, meet the curb. This is your new home.
Oh my God, you dumped Dave?
Done. I'm so over him. We were at Diebler's party the other night, and he's all looking over my shoulder at Gabby Hunter.
You mean Grabby Grunter?
Ew. Exactly. I mean, if that's what he wants, I think he doesn't deserve this.
Check your horoscope. Shop, chat, speak out, or just hang. Alloy.com. Win a shopping spree at Alloy.com.
To unlock your body's potential, there is nothing better than Soloflex. All the standard strength training exercises, each one correct in form and balance. The original, still unequaled, Soloflex.
College football Saturday at noon. Can Antoine Randall L. carve up the Cats?
Kentucky, Indiana. I coached in 4 of these. This is a big game.
Then at 5, a storied rival bounces into Baton Rouge.
Tigers' Rondell Mealy looks to run over Auburn in Tommy Tuberville's first big test.
College game day at 11. Kentucky, Indiana at noon. Auburn, LSU at 5. Tomorrow on ESPN.
It would be easy to think the leprechaun that sits in the middle of the Boston Garden floor means bad luck will never befall the Celtics. 2 NBA titles in the last 3 years, the number 2 pick in the '86 draft. Len Bias, future set. And then death. Larry Bird, who knew his share of desperation growing up, simply said of Bias's passing, quote, "It's the cruelest thing I ever heard," end quote. Chris Fowler has tonight's cover story.
The Maryland Medical Examiner has now issued his report on the death of the college basketball star Len Bias. It confirms the worst suspicions. He died of heart failure because he used cocaine.
It's conceivable that a 22-year-old All-American athlete could possibly die.
The idea of a young athlete in his prime dying is almost The medical unthinkable. examiner's office in Baltimore is now conducting an
Being the kind
autopsy.
of person that he was, very likable, very
On
unselfish.
the verge of a multi-million-dollar dream, died just like a common addict.
It's an emergency. It was Len Bias. And he just went to Boston. And he needs some assistance.
What are you talking about?
Huh?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about someone needs, Len Bias needs help.
Well, it doesn't matter what his name is. What's the problem?
He's not breathing right.
The Boston Celtics select Len Bias of the University of Maryland.
Please come as soon as you can. It's no joke.
What's the address?
1103 Washington Hall on Maryland University's campus.
Len Bias killed Len Bias. Len Bias did the cocaine.
They didn't tie him down.
And God, you have to get him back to life. There's no way he can die.
At 8:50 a.m. on June 19th, about 40 hours after he had been drafted by the Boston Celtics, Len Bias was pronounced dead of cardiac arrest due to cocaine use at Leland Memorial Hospital.
And I'm sad, but I'm not even worried because I know where it is. I know he's in heaven. And I'm going to miss him, and I know everybody else here will too. And I really can't say a whole lot more because I love you, Leonard, and I'll miss you.
Maryland's all-time leading scorer and two-time All-American had dreamed of being a Celtic, in part because his family would be able to travel to Boston and see him play.
I thought about that walk. It was a hard, very hard walk. You look at the clothes that will never be worn again, you know, and you look at the posters and the trophies and just so much pain. He had seen his dream. He had touched it.
Not only did I lose the player, I lose the friend. I liked the kid. That was his ambition in life, was to play for Boston.
Here's a guy who was, you know, had it all and had the skills, had the money, had the fame, and just, you know, lost it overnight.
His tragedy marked a turning point in this culture's point of view on drugs. Athletes catch the diseases of the period, they live out our cautionary tales.
We're all to blame. The press collaborates in this. We all collude in it to a certain extent. We over-celebrate them, and then we over-criticize them.
It took the death of somebody of his magnitude to wake up America to understand, and that's been one of the powers of sports, is even through some of the negative stories about athletes, we've learned about ourselves. We've looked inside and seen that we have some issues that we have to deal with.
The sports world is nothing more than entertainment. And entertainment is a small part of life. Had Len lived, he would have entertained you. But in death, he bought life.
The worst disaster in the history of the U.S. space program occurred in January 1986 when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded just seconds after it was launched from Cape Canaveral. That summer, a dazzling display of fireworks lit up the sky over New York Harbor to celebrate the Statue of Liberty's 100th birthday. Oliver Stone took a hard look at the war in Vietnam in Platoon, that year's Oscar-winning movie, while Tom Cruise flew to macho glory as a Navy pilot in Top Gun. And you didn't have to be a basketball fan to rejoice over the small-town high school team in Hoosiers. Courtroom theatrics were back in vogue on television with a new hit show called L.A. Law. And the most diverting political story took place in Carmel, California, where the voters elected Clint Eastwood as their mayor.
Later, Simple Minds never met John Elway, but the drive is alive and kicking as SportsCenter goes for the extra yard.
I have 48 employees. I have an 8-member management committee. I also have 3 5-year-old sons. I don't need someone else raising questions. I need someone who can give me answers.
At Lincoln Financial Group, you tell us your goals, your situation, and your concerns. We'll provide clear, understandable solutions to help you manage your finances. Lincoln Financial Group, clear solutions in a complex world.
Every kid knows, if you want to make the big leagues, you better eat your Wheaties. And every dad should know, whole grain Wheaties may help prevent cancer. Numerous studies confirm a low-fat diet rich in whole grain foods like Wheaties may reduce the risk of certain cancers. So when he does make the big leagues, you'll be in the front row. 100% whole grain Wheaties, a champion in the fight against cancer.
Hey, if the Dow Jones can go over 2,000, why can't a rookie rush for over 200 yards in an NFL game? Bo Jackson did it Monday night. 221 yards, 18 carries. The big one, this 90-yard plus burst down the left sideline. This is only his 5th game. Elliott Ness, here's your untouchable. He bowls over Brian Bosworth, 2 yards into the end zone, 3 TDs in the game in all for Bo Jackson. This is either bravado or total stupidity. Sugar Ray Leonard, who last fought a title fight the year before Risky Business was released, has apparently hopped on the sometimes you just have to say what the eye surgery 5 years ago for a detached retina. He steps back into the ring to do battle with Marvin Hagler, with many worrying that his sight wouldn't be the only thing he loses. Early on, not too ugly, but in the ninth, brutal. Hagler pounding away on Sugar Ray in the corner. Overhand rights, jabs, Leonard's legs, spaghetti. And then Sugar Ray bounces back. He works his way off the ropes. It happened twice in the ninth. Big crowd, Chevy Chase there, and there's Bo Derek, still on vacation from 10. Round 12, again, Leonard appears beaten. Hagler, and Leonard comes all the way back and pounds his way out of a corner. Gene Hackman, way to go, Sugar. The decision goes, controversially, to Leonard. Joan Collins, the Leonard dynasty lives on.
I don't know about that decision. You know all those baby on board signs we see on everybody's car? They have become annoying. That's kind of like how the Boston Celtics feel about Pistons rookie Dennis Rodman during this Eastern Conference Finals series, a series knotted at 2. Rodman even ripped Larry Bird.
Not Larry.
Yeah, Larry. He called him overrated. Oh, really, Dennis? Game 5 came down to this at Boston Garden. The Pistons up 1 with the ball, 5 seconds to go.
And now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right at 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the inbounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up at him. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left. Oh my, this place is going crazy.
Johnny Most. John Elway's come up with a few gnarly plays this year, but still feels the wrath of the Denver fans who think he's actually underachieved. His teammates don't. He looks at them in the huddle like Joe Isuzu and says, trust me. Trust Bernie Kosar's arm late in this game. We are tied 13-13. He fires it as far as he can. Underthrew Brian Brennan. Still Brennan. Touchdown. Bernie, 259, 2 TDs, 2 INTs. Cleveland's up 7 with 5:43 to go. It looked real bleak for the Broncos. They bungle the kickoff. Gene Lang gets buried. They haven't heard of aerobics in the dog pound, but they were moving pretty good, as was Mosley. So here comes Elway. The wind's in his face, and he goes to work. He looks for Steve Sewell, the third first down of the drive, to the 48 with 2:29 to go. That was a pickup of 22. Elway, botch snap. Did it bother him? No. Mark Jackson open. He fired it in there, good for 20 yards. Elway's working his way out of more jams than Crocodile Dundee. Less than 60 seconds to go in the game. 3rd and 1 from the 5. Who's open? Jackson, touchdown with 37 to go. Extra point ties it. The Bronx win in overtime.
Coming up, the St. Louis Cardinals were singing Didn't We Almost Have It All until Game 7 when Sweet Tunes Viola hit the high note.
Right now, see more trucks than an all-night diner. During the GMC Summer Convoy, pickups, SUVs, and family vans. 2 million tons of professional-grade trucks, designed better than they need to be. Like the GMC Sierra, with a larger cab and more V8 horsepower than the Ford F-150 or Dodge Ram extended cab pickups. Come in and make your own comparisons today. This is one convoy you don't want passing you by.
Let me help you out. Let me see.
I'm going to turn it on in a second.
You all right?
Oh, yeah.
Hold up. That's how we're going to do it. Come on.
You're in my house now, okay? How much they paying you? Because I don't see it.
This might help you. This really might help you.
I'd take them off if I could find the laces.
Oops. Hope you miss it.
Masters, Larry Mize, who hails from Augusta, the second playoff hole with Greg Norman, the chip shot from 140 feet away for birdie. For Greg Norman, it's Bob Tway all over again. Remember, Tway stole one from Norman at the PGA Championship. Larry Mize, your 1987 Masters winner. Talk about miracle shots. Indiana using their smarts against Syracuse in the NCAA title game. The reverse layup by Smart ties the game at 70. Now, after Howard Trish misses the free throw, Smart pulls down the board. He goes end-to-end, does Smart, taking advantage of the fact that SU had a fatal attraction with Steve Alford. And now IU was down just one. Freshman Derek Coleman misses the front of a 1-and-1 with 28 seconds to go. Hoosiers can play for the last shot. Give it to the hot guy, Smart. Keith Smart scores 6 of the Hoosiers' final 7 baskets, giving Indiana the big victory and sending Jim Boeheim and the Orangemen home losers.
Let's face it, Pat Riley is Gordon Gekko. The man oozes success. Give me more, give me more, give me more. Remember, greed is good. Looking for his 3rd NBA title as head coach. Lakers up 2-1 at the Garden tonight to take on the Celtics. As good a game as these two teams have played. Lakers up 2-1, and this one lived up to the billing. Kareem goes high. Magic averaging 13 assists in the finals. Meantime, down 1, Bird for 3. Puts the Celtics up 106-104. He had 30 in Game 3, just over 20 in this one. At the other end, Kareem fouled, makes the first, misses the second, off Kevin McHale playing with a busted foot. Lakers get a second chance. Gekko calls timeout. Magic in 84, he dribbled the ball, out, ran out of time. Here, skyhook over the Twin Towers. It's a shot that Kareem taught him in the summer. Bird at the buzzer. Yikes, off the iron. He was 7 of 19 in the game, and the Lakers escape with a victory over the Celtics. They lead 3-1.
Pass me a homer, Hanky. Game 7 World Series. Cardinals, Twins, Kirby Puckett. Big reason why the Twins were unbeaten at the Dome in this postseason. That came off of Danny Cox. Greg Gagne ties the game at 2. Puckett finished the series hitting .357. 2 outs in the 5th, Don Baylor. Vince Coleman, the charge. VC firing home. Gary Gaetti out at the plate, but Steve Lake is plowed over, but hung on. Bottom 6 now, still tied at 2. Bases loaded. Greg Gagne. That's a grounder. Snared by Tom Lawless. Gagne will beat the throw by an inch. Tom Bernatsky scores. Twins give Frank Viola a 3-2 lead. Now after Minnesota tacked on 1 more run in the 8th, Jeff Reardon trying to close it out and does just that. Gaetti to Ravech for the last out. And the Twins win their first ever World Series. Viola named MVP. This 150-1 shot at the beginning of the season. Just call them now World Series champions.
Bruce Hornsby sings, that's just the way it is. Some things will never change. After watching Nightline last night, a lot of folks, in particular black folks, have to be thinking the same thing. Al Campanis, the player personnel director for the LA Dodgers, opened his mouth and stuck both feet in. Said some nasty things about blacks and their relation to executive front office positions. This also from the same man who was partly responsible for Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier. Bob Lee has tonight's cover story.
My grandfather called at like 11:15. He said, well, watch Nightline because I said some things on there that, you know, I knew what I meant, but I think people might take it differently.
This is ABC News Nightline.
And I guess what I'm really asking you is there still that much prejudice in baseball today?
No, I don't believe it's prejudice. I truly believe that they may not have some of the necessities to be let's say a field manager or perhaps a general manager.
This is one of those times when you can see it sort of all unfolding in front of you in slow motion, and you can say, boy, if he said what I think he said, and if he meant what he said, this man's career is over.
Why are black men or black people not good swimmers? Because they don't have the buoyancy.
Roger Kahn did nothing to jump in and say, Al, Al, I've known you a long time. I've known you for years. We've had many discussions, you know, about Jackie Robinson and your role as Jackie Robinson's roommate. Bail him out.
He was totally shocked. And I'm out there, too, when there are 10 million people watching, and I'm not going to, you know, support this sort of thing.
I thought it was absolutely a brutal miscarriage of journalism for those two to do what they did, too. And Al was never good on his feet.
If Campanis was slow of foot, his 45-year track record as a judge of baseball talent certainly had legs. He signed dozens of minority players from Roberto Clemente to Tommy Davis. He was a friend, a teammate, and a supporter of Jackie Robinson.
I was surprised he didn't take it back when Koppel gave him the second chance in the show.
I'd like to give you another chance to dig yourself out, because I think you need it.
Well, let me just say this, Mr. Koppel. How many executives do you have on a higher level or higher echelon in your business?
Yeah,
in TV. I mean,
you're absolutely right.
Or anchormen. How many black anchormen do you have?
That was the one really good point he made that night, because, you know, what was true of Major League Baseball is also true of broadcasting and all kinds of other areas.
Al Campanis got caught talking locker room talk publicly and embarrassed the game.
For us to think Al Campanis was the only vice president of the baseball team who believed the same thing would be very naive.
Indeed, with just 3 black managers and no general managers in its long history, baseball had as much or more to answer for. But Campanis paid the price. Less than 2 days after his appearance on Nightline, at the Dodgers' request, Al Campanis resigned.
Mr. Campanis' statements on the ABC Nightline show Monday night were so far removed from the beliefs of the Dodger organization that it was impossible for him to continue in his duties.
He was a scapegoat. There's no way that he could have stayed in baseball for 45 years holding those attitudes and dispositions and not have them broadly shared.
They were incorrect remarks, but blown into a worldwide incident. The guy was obviously not a racist. What happened is it then took on a bigger life, which was fine with me, because that's the way you make change.
Uberoth pushed for change, making minority hiring a priority. Harry Edwards was enlisted to scout black and Hispanic candidates.
Once I became involved in the effort to deal with problems of access to front offices by blacks, my response was I did not feel that driving Campanis out would resolve the problem.
Edwards actually wanted to hire Campanis as his deputy. He claimed the former Dodger VP deserved the NAACP Man of the Year award for shedding light on a long-ignored problem. But baseball wanted nothing to do with Campanis. He faded from public view in personal disgrace.
He obviously paid his price by losing his job that he'd had for 20-some years. Isn't that enough?
It wasn't that what he said was just this terrible misstatement by an old man and everyone could dismiss it. What he said had the ring of truth to it. There would be others in Major League Baseball who had the same opinion that Al Campanis did, but were just smart enough not to say it publicly.
Al Campanis wasn't the only one caught up in scandal in 1987. The Reagan White House was on the defensive because of its role in the illegal transactions of the Iran-Contra affair. Gary Hart shelved his plans to run for president because of an alleged adulterous fling with a Miami model named Donna Rice. And TV evangelist Jim Baker publicly confessed that he'd been cheating on his wife, Tammy. With all those strains on the national nervous system, it's no wonder the stock market took a nosedive that fall. The financial market also inspired 2 of the year's biggest hits, the Oliver Stone movie, Wall Street, and Tom Wolfe's first novel, The Bonfire of the Vanities. And for the first time, pro football games were broadcast on cable television as ESPN nailed down a piece of the lucrative NFL action, a deal that underscored the growing power of the cable industry.
Up next, the Great One's next act will be to make Hollywood Hockey Town. Will the deal of the century be prudent at this juncture for the Oilers?
SportsCentury SportsCenter Decade is presented by GMC. Do one thing, do it well. Also brought to you by Nike, by MCI, 5 cents every day, and by Lincoln Financial Group. Lincoln Financial Group, clear solutions in a complex world.
Hi, Mike Wilmot, Director of Regional Sales. Glad to note to self, try to use the term vis-a-vis in a sentence. Credibility starts with C.
Management. The next big thing from Mike Wilmot.
Hi, can I get some coffee? Oh, are there cups there?
LS. The next big thing from Saturn. More power, more control, more headroom.
At Burger King, we're always trying to make have it your way better. Like this idea for a win your way college football game.
2 more tries!
Run back a kickoff and win great prizes. Then we thought, why not Just scratch and win. This week, Penn State and Miami face off, and you could win $1 million, a Toyota RAV4, or the best tasting prize of all, a delicious Whopper. Burger King. When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
I knew I was in for the fight of my life, but I was ready.
When my husband and his friends start exchanging fish stories, it's the phone bill that can turn into a Whopper.
I fought this monster for hours. First I had the upper hand, then he took control.
That's why we always dial 10-10-321. With 10-10-321, calls over 10 minutes are just 8 cents a minute, day or night. And at 8 cents a minute, he can tell all the stories he wants.
I'll tell you, it was like a whale.
Yeah?
You should have seen it.
Well, let me tell you about my trip.
Dial 10-10-321 and talk as long as you want, whenever you want.
The Jets go upstate to take on the Bills in an ESPN Sunday Night Football brawl.
Heard about the foot there, Charbet. Tough break, pal.
It's Crevette. Sorbet? Are we having sorbet?
It's Crevette.
There's nothing better to cleanse the palate than sorbet.
My roommate from college was nuts for sorbet, Charbet. He was a Sharpay.
It's pronounced Crevette. Get it?
No, I'm sure it's pronounced Sharpay. It's Chinese.
It's the Jets against the Bills on ESPN Sunday Night Football. It all begins with NFL primetime at 7:30.
From Seoul's indoor swimming pool, the women's 400-meter freestyle, we're talking Olympics. Janet Evans going for a world record time and her second gold medal. Evans is going to be in shock when she hits the touchpad and sees her time. Her mouth drops. With a world record time of 4:03.85, Evans has her second gold, blowing the record away. She still has an event left and could win 3. Now, in winning the heptathlon, Jackie Joyner-Kersee set a new world record totaling 7,291 points. Of these 7 events, Joyner-Kersee won the hurdles, the long jump, and the 200 meters outright. After falling 5 points shy of the gold at the 84 games, no one has come within 400 points of Joyner-Kersee in the heptathlon in the past 3 years. Wow, this just off the fax machine. Remember 2 days ago, Ben Johnson was totally mint, taking out Karl Lewis in the 100 meters? Well, we just found out Johnson had some help. His world record is history. His gold medal now belongs to Lewis. Ben Johnson has been banned from international competition. He's on a flight to New York. The shocking development coming moments ago after it was announced that the Canadian sprinter tested positive for anabolic steroids. Well, no matter what happened in Super Bowl 22 against the Denver Broncos, Washington's Doug Williams knew he would always be remembered as the first black quarterback to start a Super Bowl. But by the end of the game, that wouldn't be the only first for him. He and the Redskins trying to become the 6th NFC team to win the Super Bowl in the last 7 years. To San Diego, Joe Gibbs, Redskins explode on offense. Doug Williams, a day after undergoing root canal surgery on a tooth, connecting with Ricky Sanders for the score as Williams and Sanders was providing the pain the Broncos' way. But the Skins were still down 3. Later in the quarter, after Gary Clark scored a TD to put the Skins up, rookie Timmy Smith explodes. 58 yards for the touchdown. His first pro touchdown ever. Smith got the surprise start over George Rogers. Good decision. He'd rush for a Super Bowl record 204 yards. Still in the second, it's Doug Williams. Back to work. Hooking up with his favorite target, Sanders again. 42-10 is your final, and Doug Williams is your MVP with 4 TD passes.
The natural has given way to Bull Durham as baseball movies go. What kind of advice would Crash Davis have had for Oral Hershiser? None. You just make sure that a certain Susan Sarandon keep her distance. Oral, a lot better than good over the second half of the season. 59 straight scoreless innings. He sits for Game 1 of the World Series. Next to him, Kirk Gibson. Poor guy could barely walk, and he struggled in the League Championship Series, batting $154. The former A is Tim Belcher. Didn't last long. Canseco lifting off here. This is a grand slam, the 15th in series history. 4-3 A's into the 9th. The Eck and his 45 saves come in. Cue the music because here comes Gibson. 1 on, 2 down. He fell in a hole, 0-2. Mike Davis is standing on first base. He's joined there by Mark McGuire. So Gibson battling like Joan Rivers just to keep her show alive. She failed. How about Kirk Gibson? Hey, as he says, Bender, you mess with a bull, you're going to get the horns. 3-2 pitches lifted off, and Kirk Gibson steps in, steps up, and limps around the bases. An amazing home run as the Dodgers win 5-4.
As we know, President Ronald Reagan can be a very funny man. At a photo op recently, the president had them on the floor talking about the struggling Washington Capitals. He said, quote, "I understand they're going to trade for Wayne Gretzky. What do you think it would take to get him?" he said. 2 first-round draft picks in the state of Texas? Our president was kidding. I mean, how do you trade the greatest hockey player in the world? Steve Levy has our cover story.
Here comes Gretzky. In front. Score! What a play! He's got the touch. Gretzky, score!
We're a small country, but we've got the Edmonton Oilers, and Wayne Gretzky is the greatest player in the world. And Edmonton, I think, will win the Stanley Cup 5 more years. So everything's pretty good in Canada. And all of a sudden,
Wayne was house sitting at my house. My brother grabbed the phone and said, "You gotta come home quick. There's helicopters overhead. There's paparazzi. There's police. There's security." What happened? Gretzky got traded this morning.
Wayne Gretzky is going to leave the Edmonton Oilers to go and play hockey for the Los Angeles Kings.
Canada's greatest sports hero, maybe the greatest hockey player of all time, is heading south.
The initial shock of the great Gretzky trade has worn off a little, and it's being replaced by intense speculation, controversy, and growing anger.
I felt, and I'd like to argue this point with anybody, we had the best team in the history of the NHL. It was like a highlight film every game. And then to hear that Wayne Gretzky got traded, boy, I almost wanted to make you cry.
Promised Mess I wouldn't do this.
One of the LA newscasters said, "Well, the folks in Edmonton are pretty upset." He says it's kind of like a one-horse town, and the horse just left town.
We've been ripping off superstars from other cities for a long time. You know, in basketball, we basically stole Magic Johnson. We stole Kareem. We stole Wilt Chamberlain, Kirk Gibson, Bo Jackson. Edmonton should feel fortunate because a lot of times we just take the whole franchise.
When they traded him from Edmonton to Los Angeles, a whole nation got caught up in this. People still haven't forgiven Peter Pocklington for doing that deed.
It's pretty incredible how they reacted, and then the whole country for that matter as well, but particularly the city of Edmonton. It was like, you know, it was war.
It's the biggest trade in sports history. He wasn't a rookie. He wasn't over the hill. He was in his prime. He had set records that no one in any team sport had ever set.
41 NHL records to be exact. At 27, the Great One captured 8 MVP trophies while leading the Oilers to 4 Stanley Cups. If ever there was a cure for what ailed the lowly Los Angeles Kings, it was Canada's brightest star.
It was like the old joke. You'd call the forum and say, "What time's the game start?" And they'd say, "What time can you be here?" You could get more people in a jacuzzi in L.A. than you can get at a hockey game.
It's almost, in some ways, like the Dodgers and Giants bringing baseball to the West. Gretzky, I think, sort of brought hockey to the West. Because people just came out of the woodwork. Gretzky had that real star quality. They knew he was great. And he, you know, had a good look, had a great-looking wife. And he could do something which they appreciate in L.A., which was kick butt and dominate.
What an impact it made on this team. The sale of jackets, caps, jerseys went from dead last to #1 of all sports teams.
A string of star-studded sellouts resulted in a 27% increase at the gate, tripling the value of the franchise. The Kings won their first playoff series in 7 years, beating none other than the Oilers. In just a single season, Wayne Gretzky sold ice hockey to a city built on sand.
Hockey was perceived as a cold-weather northeastern sport. When Wayne Gretzky went to Los Angeles, the NHL was perceived more coast-to-coast, more national in the United States than it had ever been before.
He is the single biggest reason why this sport expanded the way it did. It is a Sun Belt, West Coast, warm-weather sport now because of Wayne Gretzky.
The trade of Wayne Gretzky to the Kings sparked another surge in the expansion of professional hockey as the NHL soon moved into southern states like Arizona and Texas, where even in winter there's no ice outside of arenas. After promising to transform us into a kinder and gentler nation, George Bush went on to defeat Michael Dukakis in the 1988 presidential election. Michael Crawford sang up a storm and the chandelier came crashing down in the new hit Broadway musical Phantom of the Opera. And it was a banner year for women on television as Roseanne and Murphy Brown made their debuts. It was also a big year for baseball movies. 8 Men Out chronicled the Black Sox scandal, and Bull Durham revealed how desperately minor league players need the unselfish love of a good woman.
Still ahead on the show. Who would have thought the World Series between the Giants and the Bash Brothers of Oakland would feature a power outage of serious proportions?
I'll tell you what, we're having an earthquake. I don't know if we're on the air or not, and I'm not sure I care.
When the Bryant family needed a fresh financial start, they called Superior Bank at 1-888-678-7777.
We saved money, we cut our payments, and lowered our interest rate.
All at the same time.
They got us the loan that fit our monthly budget.
Now we have a lot more for the kids every month.
My family's in better financial shape thanks to Superior.
If you need a home loan, no matter what your credit or income situation, do what the Bryants did. Call Superior Direct at 1-888-678-7777.
Hey guys, if you have thinning hair, call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB now, and we'll send you our new 40-page hair loss update. It covers the most up-to-date information on hair growing drugs and methods, as well as Hair Club's most natural-looking, non-surgical hair development to date.
You don't feel any difference in this hair, this hair.
Now that I am a Hair Club client, I would never go back.
Call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB now and get your free booklet. That's 1-800-HAIR-CLUB.
There was no way that we could win this game. We didn't have a shot. I mean, there was some American kids that were like 22 years old. They're fighting against these big Russian guys, and there was no chance. And then...
You've got to call 1-800-CLASSIC to get ESPN Classic.
17-year-old Michael Chang facing 3-time champ Ivan Lendl in the French Open. Chang was exhausted. He was cramping up. He would hobble around most of the day. He had dropped the first 2 sets as he was trying to become the first American man to win the French Open since 1955, but Chang would battle back to take the next 2 sets. But he was exhausted, so exhausted he tried the lob serve. And it basically threw Ivan Lendl off. Chang trying to become the youngest man to reach the French quarters. Chang ripping another winner onto 5th set match point. And Lendl amazingly double faults Chang with the unbelievable upset.
When you think about it, we've all kind of grown up this decade with Joe Montana. He was real cool in 1980, taking the Niners on a 4th quarter comeback against the Chiefs, the first of 18 he's engineered. Then there was the Dwight Clark catch, which led to Montana's first Super Bowl win in '82. And finally tonight, the ultimate performance, which means, as we pick it up, he's trailing by 3 with 3:10 to go. Niners start at their own 8-yard line. Near midfield now, Montana, Jerry Rice, this good for 27 yards. Rice had 11 catches for 215 yards on the game. Then it's Montana looking for Roger Craig with less than a minute to go, down to 39 seconds. He finds them. Montana, instead of thinking tying field goal, now begins to think about winning touchdown. Craig 8 catches, 101 yards. Montana calls time. From the 10-yard line, 34 seconds to go. John Taylor, he's open in the back of the end zone. 92 yards, 11 plays, and it was Taylor's only catch of the game. The Niners win by 4.
Who would have thought that interim coach Steve Fisher could have taken Michigan into the NCAA title game after just 3 weeks on the job? Bo Schembechler, that's who. He dumped Bill Frieder immediately after he announced he'd be leaving to take that job at Arizona State beginning next year. Bo knows basketball, no question about that. There is Steve Fisher, focused on Seton Hall. Glenn Rice leading Michigan on the floor. Rice, 2 of his 31 points. He was your most outstanding player. Bo likes it. This one went to OT, though. Ramil Robinson would get fouled with the Wolverines down 1, 3 seconds left. Now, Robinson, just over 64% shooter from the foul line this season, and Ramil is the man. Robinson nails them both. He was 9 of 10 from the line, and Michigan is a winner, 80-79.
Never before in the history of the World Series has a game been canceled for a reason other than the weather. In San Francisco late this afternoon, disaster strikes in the form of an earthquake, halting the series, the city, and the entire country. Bob Lee with the latest details.
Game 3 of the World Series was less than a half hour away when Northern California was hit by a major earthquake, reported to be between 6.9 and 7.0 on the Richter scale. It was centered near San Benito, 20 miles south of San Jose, 10 miles northeast of Santa Cruz. It was felt as far away as Sacramento and several hundred miles to the south. The quake was felt at Candlestick Park at 5:05 local time, while ABC Sports was signing on for coverage of the game.
Candy Maldonado with the hesitation, allowing Jose Canseco to score, and he fails to get Dave Parker at second base, so the Oakland A's take a
I'll tell you what, we're having an earthquake. I don't know if we're on the air or not, and I'm not sure I care in this particular moment, but we are. Well, folks, that's the greatest open in the history of television.
One aftershock occurred here at Candlestick while grounds crews were actually pulling up the bases. Commissioner Fay Vincent reached a rapid decision to postpone Game 3.
My judgment was we should postpone this game so that people could leave the stadium in an orderly fashion while it was still daylight.
Thank you, Bob. That is tragic news. Coming up on the show, our cover story on Pete Rose and the stunning developments that will affect his baseball future.
Come on.
Not that easy. Not that easy.
Hurts me. Right?
Don't let it beat you, KG.
Come on, Kevin. Watch it. Brandy's in the house.
So with the shirt.
At Burger King, we're always trying to make have it your way better. Like this idea for a win your way college football game.
2 more tries!
Run back a kickoff and win great prizes. Then we thought, why not just scratch and win? This week, Penn State and Miami face off, and you could win $1 million, a Toyota RAV4, or the best tasting prize of all, a delicious Whopper. Burger King. When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
Counting down to number 1, the Georgia Peach, a gentle moniker for one of baseball's nastiest players, whose legend the game will never forget. SportsCentury athlete number 20, Ty Cobb, tonight at 10:30 on ESPN, presented by General Motors.
In 1985, Pete Rose was hotter than pastels. His baseball's all-time hit king. He could walk on the baseball field, and he could walk on water. 4 years later, the hits are coming harder and faster than a Mike Tyson combination, and Rose is down on the canvas. Here's the bottom line, folks. Bet on the game you participate in, and you're through. Today, Pete Rose signed his baseball life away.
The banishment for life of Pete Rose from baseball is the sad end of a sorry episode. One of the game's greatest players has engaged in a variety of acts which have stained the game, and he must now live with the consequences of those acts.
I was the best ambassador of baseball I ever had, because I still do. Tried to sell the game, try to give the people their money's worth.
Pete Rose stood at the pinnacle of American sports heroism. For passion, commitment, and courage, you could do no better than Charlie Hustle.
He only knew one speed, and that was full speed. And I have never in my life seen an athlete who, no matter what the circumstance, gave you your money's worth, always.
Rose is coming to the plate, throws a throw. Pete Rose barreled into Ray Fosse, who is slow in getting up.
When you watched him play, you knew he enjoyed doing what he was doing. You knew there was a passion for it in his heart.
As he bangs a single into right field to keep the hitting streak alive at 44 in a row.
When I met Richie Ashburn, he said, he is the most obsessive person I've ever seen. It doesn't make any difference whether it's playing baseball, sex, gambling, whatever. He does everything absolutely full out. He said if Pete drank,
He'd have been an alcoholic when he was 16 years old.
2-1 pitch. There it is! Rose has eclipsed Cobb. That's number 4,192.
Then, with the suddenness of a bomb exploding in the Cincinnati locker room, the Dowd Report. Baseball's official investigation into Pete Rose's gambling activities concluded that Rose wagered on baseball and his own team.
I remember just feeling overwhelmed by the evidence and thinking that if people only understood what was here and how much was here, there really wouldn't be much of an issue.
You have to be a moron if you've heard all these things and you didn't think he did something.
I'm happy to look in the camera now and say I never bet on baseball, and I never bet on Cincinnati Red baseball.
Pete says, I didn't do this. Who was making the calls in your name out of the clubhouse to the bookie at 7:15 every night? Well, what's that all about? The evidence is overwhelming.
It is a powerful case. It's probably the most powerful case I think I've ever put together. You had the manager of the Cincinnati Reds, and that manager owed elements of organized crime in New York $500,000. They had him on a hook.
Rose signed an agreement accepting lifetime banishment, which also makes him ineligible for the Hall of Fame. In return, his signature on the document is deemed neither an admission nor a denial that he bet on games.
There's people think I got kicked out of baseball for betting on baseball, and that's totally untrue. That's totally untrue. Any poll you take, 90% of people think I should be in the Hall of Fame, be reinstated.
If you go to Cooperstown, there is no plaque of Pete Rose, and there may never be one. Not until he shows some contrition and convinces the people of baseball that he knows what he did was wrong.
I think he is deeply wounded by the Hall of Fame and his inability to get into it. The sight of him in Cooperstown signing autographs down the street brings to mind Greek mythology, Tantalus reaching for the fruit that he can't quite get.
He's paid an enormous penalty, and if he went into the Hall of Fame, it would be for achievements that predate the charges against him. Somebody got those 4,000 hits.
I'd say no. Never until he apologizes, till he admits that he was wrong and he apologizes.
However history treats the Rose affair, his worst punishment may be that our appreciation of him as a ball player is likely to fade, perhaps even disappear.
Pete Rose was contemptuous of the rules, flagrant, compulsive, and reckless, and in the end, when caught, unremorseful.
Nobody liked the life more than Pete Rose did. Nobody liked being a baseball star more than Pete Rose did. And that's why it makes you nuts that he threw it away.
There's no closure because the public wants to know whether Pete bet on baseball. Pete won't admit it. And for all I know, Pete may go to his death denying it.
In the decades since Pete Rose was banished from Major League Baseball, he's applied for reinstatement, but to no avail. 1989 was the year the Cold War finally ended. Freedom was on the march all over Eastern Europe as communist governments fell like a row of dominoes. But a similar pro-democracy movement in China came to a tragic end with the massacre in Tiananmen Square. The San Francisco earthquake wasn't the only disaster on the Pacific coast that year. In March, the tanker Exxon Valdez caused the worst oil spill and pollution in U.S. history. The trend toward excellent baseball movies continued as all roads led to Iowa for a look at Kevin Costner's Field of Dreams. Batman came to the big screen to match wits with Jack Nicholson's The Joker, and American kids became acquainted with the names of Renaissance artists thanks to a pizza-loving gang called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
When we come back, Linda and I will put a nice big bow on this edition of SportsCenter with another Did You Know?
SportsCentury Sports Center of the Decade is presented by Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car. Also brought to you by Lincoln Financial Group. Lincoln Financial Group, clear solutions in a complex world. By Budweiser. Now is the perfect time to enjoy a brewery fresh, Beechwood-aged Budweiser. And by Wheaties, the breakfast of champions.
You've heard him squeak. Now, hear him sing. You'll get all his hits. Songs like, You Don't Understand a Word I Say. I haven't bathed in a week. And his duet with Louis, Salamander Serenade.
Oh, Salamander, I serenade you. I often think of you when I am feeling weak.
When did you do that?
I was young, okay? Okay, we make mistakes.
Gerda?
No.
Gidget?
Nope.
Nanook? Pandora?
Nah.
Hunting slugs and snails with me.
Parenting. The next big thing from the McKinneys. LS. The next big thing from Saturn. Room for parents. Room for kids. Same dent-resistant doors.
I have a boss. I have a mother-in-law. I also have a teenage daughter. I don't need someone else telling me what to do. I need someone who will listen.
You tell us your goals, your situation, and your concerns. We'll provide clear, understandable solutions to help you manage your finances. Lincoln Financial Group. Clear solutions in a complex world.
As you know, the Detroit Pistons just wrapped up their first NBA championship, sweeping the Lakers. But did you know, with the Lakers' appearance in the final, it capped off a decade where either the Lakers or the Celtics appeared in every NBA final.
That's right. In fact, Linda, even more demented than that, but still social. Only two teams other than the Celtics and Lakers won an NBA title in the 80s, the Pistons and the '83 Sixers.
No way, Karl.
Way.
Oh, wow. It's funny we mentioned way and no way, because when you look back on the 1980s, I can't believe what a decade it was. So many new things. Computers, faxes. My friends at the Pentagon keep telling me about something they're using there called the Internet. I have no idea what they're talking about. And how about us? Can you believe how big cable is getting?
Cable's huge.
Cable is huge. And did we ever find out who shot JR?
You'll find out on cable. Okay. Or read about it on the Internet. How about the sports world? You had Bird and Magic sort of breathing new life into the NBA. Now you got Michael, and you wonder if he's ever going to win an NBA title. As far as baseball goes, the Minnesota Twins won a World Series, but it seems like there's a big payroll disparity. You wonder if the Twins will ever win another one.
Good point.
Comeback kid, Joe Montana, John Elway, still has yet to win a Super Bowl. And out west, I keep hearing about this kid, this golfer named Woods. I think they call him Tiger. Then you wonder if he's ever going to catch a guy like the Golden Bear.
I'm wondering if we're going to love the 90s as much as we love the 80s.
80s weren't bad. That will do it for this edition of SportsCenter. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Karl Ravech. Dweeb.
I'm Linda Cohn. Nerd. Have a good one. Take care. Bye.
The 1980s. For ESPN SportsCentury, I'm Susan Sarandon.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, a part of the Go Network. Go.com.